Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got another first class guest up in the building today. But before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live at Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Marv Beyond the Glass. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been looking forward to this one for quite some time now. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge hip-hop historian, a big hip-hop head, and I love it when I could share and collaborate with people just like this person right here. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest producers ever to come out of the tri-state area. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Knox is in the building.
Wow, thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. You might be a couple, maybe a year or two too early, but I'm trying to get there.
I guess I'm Marty McFly. I'm just looking into the future right now.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe we could come back a year or two and then look at this footage and just say,
right,
Jason was right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, put it like Marv knows all about this. Put everything into manifestation. Words have more power than you realize.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm very big in manifestation.
Yeah,
and believing in positivity and anything that you put yourself in goals and getting to it, it always prospers for yourself as long as you get the right mindset.
That's where I'm at right now, because for quite a long time I was like the opposite. I was actually talking to Marv about this earlier before we started recording, where I used to be this type of person where I just didn't give a fuck about anything and everybody. Like, it was all about me. And then I started to realize the error of my ways, and I didn't want to live that. So then I tried to switch it up and try to be more lenient, be more open-minded. The problem was I started letting people take advantage of me. I was doing it way too much. I was being too much of a caregiver, to the point where it was actually at my own sacrifice. And then I realized that, holy shit, that's not the way to go either. So I had to learn how to balance. I'm still a work in progress, but as long as you realize that there's a problem, if you don't, you can't fix a problem if you don't know there is a problem.
Oh yeah.
So that's
as long as you take care of yourself first, self-care, make sure you're good to go. Then you can help anybody that needs help too.
Nice.
But I've experienced that most of my life too as well. Always trying to take care of other people's and others instead of myself, and I always end up with the short end of the stick. But I try to work on that last year and trying to make sure I save time for yourself, because taking care of yourself, making sure your priorities are straight is most important.
Isn't it tough though that sometimes that it could be the closest people to you, like family specifically, that they could use that and make you feel that vulnerable to the point where they're taking advantage of you, and they just feel like they have the right to, subconsciously, because you are a family member. Yeah, I was talking about this with a friend of mine last night, where I have a family member where they have that mindset where, like, yo, if you got it, I got it. We family. That's how it is with blood.
Right.
But he doesn't realize that not everybody looks at it that way. So whenever he's in a bind and then he needs help, now I would love to help out, but there's a limit to my help. My help is not unconditional.
Yeah, we can't always be the safety net.
Exactly. And then it was a situation where he needed help for like 3 weeks, like he needed a place to stay, whatever. And but knowing them, it would have been a lot longer than 3 weeks, and just because they're family, they like, we shouldn't even have our doors should be open to them at all times. But once I learned that, and did it cause some friction in between my family? Yes, it did. But my mental is good as far as that's concerned. Like, I sleep comfortably at night knowing I did the right choice for myself.
As long as you know you did the right thing for yourself, friends, and family, that's what matters.
Right. So I'm also looking at your shirt right now, and that's one of the greatest T-shirts ever, because it's represents one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. The Purple Tape. That's a Purple Tape for you kids out there. Wu-Tang Clan is one of the greatest groups of all time. Wu-Tang is for the children.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
Yes. So
and Wu-Tang is forever. So.
And Wu-Tang is forever. Yes.
Timeless music. For real.
Right, absolutely. So obviously you're naturally a hip hop head, and you're a musician. Every time I see you, I think this is the first time that I've actually seen you without your soundboard or your whatever your machine. You carry that thing around you like it's an iPhone.
Yeah, well, I try to keep it close because that's my baby right there.
Right. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's your, because you know what it is for me. It's like I always have to have a little small notebook and a pen, so I could kind of write down my thoughts and try to get me through whatever I'm going through. Or it's just like an exercise in mental,
You'd be surprised at the things that you write down that actually manifests into prosperity and actually happens. Right. I myself write things down all the time when I'm working on my music, when I'm working at work, just to make sure, we're always forgetful. We always have to do something. and make sure we have to take care of it. Always writing down my little goals, as small as they are. It doesn't matter. Just write it down. That's helped me a lot in my little career that I've started this year. Is set a goal, write it down, and then fulfill it.
Now, have you always been musically inclined? Like, did you come from a musically inclined family, or was it something that you kind of discovered later on in life and you just fell in love with it?
Actually, so I grew up in the Bronx, and growing up in the Bronx, my older brother was a DJ.
Okay.
And he used to have all types of turntables and music equipment and stuff, and he always has his friends over. He always had like people doing stuff, making either making mixtapes, or doing like collaboration tapes and stuff like that back in the day. He used to do block parties where. So I lived on Fordham and Creston Avenue. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bronx.
I'm familiar with Fordham.
So right around there, at the time, me growing up in the '90s, everybody would come outside in the summer, and my brother would bring his equipment out, his big, huge speakers, his DJ stuff. They would plug it up to the light post, and there goes the whole block. The block party would just prosper and chill. Everybody would be outside. So I grew up with that musical environment in the urban '90s.
Yeah.
Just sparked something in me. But yeah.
And I think that's perfect because to me, in my own personal opinion, that is my favorite era of hip hop.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of people, a lot of the older heads, like like the people I know from in my family members that are older, or even people like Crazy Legs. Shout out to Crazy Legs, former guest of the First Class Second Place podcast.
That was a great show. By
Yeah,
the way.
thank you, bro. Thank you. It's all subjective at the end of the day. But me personally, I grew up in the '90s. I was born in '86, but I grew up in the '90s. So to me, that was the ultimate zenith of hip hop as far as I'm concerned. Because like what I loved about it is that you would have groups like Mobb Deep and even Wu-Tang. It wouldn't be crazy to hear Ice Cream from the Purple Tape playing a Hot 97 like you're spinning a Young Thug record now.
Yeah.
But that to me that was the greatest era for me as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely was. My first remembrance of music and especially hip hop was probably "If I Ruled the World" by Nas.
Yeah.
When I was about I'll say 7 or so, that's the song right there, the summer that just I remember the first very song. I used to have my brother make little tapes for me, copies from his CDs.
Nice.
And I would say, hey, can you make me this album? And the first album that he copied for me was B.I.G., Ready to Die. You know what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that right there. I used to record like any song that I liked on the radio just to make my own tapes. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. And when you started getting into it, like, did you always want to get into the music aspect, like producing or creating, or did you try different avenues? Like, did you ever write or like actually get up behind the mic and rap and stuff?
Yeah, totally. It's totally funny. Cause like back in the days when I was in school, I used to have a whole bunch of friends and shit. And we used to, make beats on the tables in lunchtime.
That's the best way to do it.
That's right there.
That's the foundation.
I
can't tell you how many legends have been made just by doing the cafeteria tables.
Take 2 pens and just drop a beat. It was usually the grinding beat.
Yeah.
The grinding beat, and then get everybody, and then it evolved into some ludicrous beat here that was popping at that time.
Like
and
Southern Hospitality.
Yeah, we made like a little group called the VEMS. It was just me and my friends, and we just made the acronym off of our last names. And we would just hit the table real quick at lunchtime and then rap over it. And we would make our raps. We'll write them down and stuff. And then it didn't really spark much for most of us, but I know one of my boys, Stir, ended up making beats as well. And then one of my boys, Wilson, started making beats as well too. So they started branching off and making beats, and I did as well.
Nice. Now, were you always known as Professor Knox, or did you ever have any other names?
No. Yeah, no. So like, couple years ago, I was going by X-Man Dam, by the wrestling podcast that I used to do here in the beginning stages of Bravery.
Are we allowed to shout them out?
No, I mean we could shout out the people that I worked with. I worked with Darth Messiah from the
there you go.
From the Ultra Hills Wrestling podcast.
Gotcha. All right.
And definitely, Steve was on it a couple times.
Shout out to Steve. That's the homie right there.
And Alex the motherfucking heel. I can curse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex the heel. Shout out to Alex.
I love in the last
and
couple of episodes people have asked if they can curse.
yeah, yeah, and there was a chick on the show named Anna too. She was dope.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what are other names that you had before you settled on Professor Knox?
Actually, I had
Well, I mean,
yeah,
besides the
it
one
was
that you just mentioned.
it was X Man Dam. It's not a sham or a scam. It's the real X Man Dam on Instagram. Follow me, fam. That was my thing.
Ah,
That was my thing. Every time we started the show, I
I
had my
like.
little AKAs, and I would go on for like a whole minute.
So how did you settle on Professor Knox?
So, well, before Professor Knox, I was using Superb Sounds,
Hmm.
and that was legit like my first beat producer name, and probably like 2015, 16. I never went anywhere with it because I was just starting out then, and I would work on a crack version of FL Studios just like everybody else. I started on FL Studios 11. I was working on beats on there, and it's just so much to learn on that program that I never really got to master it. Um, and the becoming of the name Professor Knox happened just the beginning of this year. So last year, I bought the MPC machine that I started making beats on, which I carry around always.
Yes.
I bought it in April of last year because I wanted to try something different than the FL Studios program that I've been using. So I started seeing people online. I was like, "Oh, these people are like finger drumming on this machine, and this
Yeah.
machine looks so good." And it's one of the old school Akai machines that people would use like back in the days, like the MPC 300 and all the other good ones, 3000, and all the good machines and stuff. And I was like, "Yo, man, let me see how much one of these machines." Oh man, I looked online. It was like $1,200. I was like, "Damn, this is an investment. If I'm gonna buy this machine, I'm gonna fucking really learn the ins and
That's
outs
how
of it."
you have to look at it. You can't look at it as a brand new shiny toy. You
Oh
have to
yeah,
look at it as this is what's going to set you up for the rest of your life.
yeah, and at that point in my life, I wanted to reinvent myself somehow. I wanted to make a difference, make a change, and do something that makes me happy. So I took the leap of faith, and Amazon said they had it on 20% off. I got it for like $1,100. Just
Shout out to
snagged
Jeff
it.
Bezos.
Shout out to Amazon, man, because I was just like, I had it in my cart for about a month, and I was just like, damn, should I just pull the trigger? Should I just get this shiny new toy? And when you're spending that much money, and you know how it is nowadays, you don't want to feel guilty on spending all that money and not, do anything with it.
Oh my God, that's actually kind of giving me like Vietnam flashbacks because my father. I remember there was this one time where I had just gotten a brand new phone. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was my very first camera phone, and it cost me like $80 at the time, which today would probably cost like $200. And I remember my father just he saw that I had a new phone, and we were kind of struggling at the time.
Yeah.
We were broke. I mean, we didn't know where our next dollar was gonna come from, and I just remember him just fucking berating me, like talking about like putting me down and like just some of the worst thing you could think of. I'm thinking all of this over a phone, but that had an effect on me because ever since then, and I'm still even trying to shake it off now, where I try not to feel guilty about something that I want or I feel is gonna have like really have benefit for me in the future. But for a long time, I dealt with that. I mean, sometimes I would even feel guilty about eating certain dinner or a certain kind of food because it wasn't in my price range, and I would feel a whole lot better if I ate Chinese food as opposed to something that's actually better for me, like from a Spanish restaurant.
Yeah,
So
what's funny though? Growing up nowadays, I definitely understand where family came from when it comes to, come on, man, we got food at home type
yep,
stuff. I mean, I don't, I never wanted to be bashed about spending a certain amount of money because we work for it. You know what I'm saying? But you do have a family to keep in mind that, and you can't buy the latest gaming console this month or this week because you might have to pay a bill here, or
yeah.
you might put food in the fridge.
Right, but yeah, but I did live with that guilt for a long time.
Yeah.
Where like even if I worked hard enough and I have the money to do it, I just felt like why do I feel icky about it?
It's a hard mentality to take on. You just gotta sometimes understand that you gotta take care of yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
whether you learn that early in life or later in life, it's still a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get this machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your baby now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an investment. It's not just a shiny new toy.
Yeah.
You carry with you everywhere that you go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so how does, like, one of the things that I love about when people find something that they're passionate about is they get to do something and create something that not everybody else in the world can do. It's their own thing.
Yeah.
But it's also done wonders for how they feel inside, and you know, their mental, and you know, just being able to do something that you love is kind of like it's almost kind of like a curse word in this day and age.
Yeah.
So like, and I see you all the time on social media at Professor Knox on Instagram and all social media platforms, where you are always producing. Like, you are nonstop. Like that, I think I see that beat machine more than I see you on your social media. That's how much work you're putting in.
Yeah, I gotta show my face a little more, but I'm trying to make the work do it for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You're letting your art speak for itself. You know, like,
oh yeah.
So
yeah. So last year, bro, I bought this machine on my birthday in April, and I was like, and I'm telling you, the whole like past 2-3 months before I bought the machine, I'm looking online on how to use the machine. I'm looking at what people think about the machine. Is this for me? You know, this is a big step. I got to spend all this money if I want to fucking have some fun with this thing. So I did my research on this thing and finally get it. Oh my God. It was like, what the hell did I just buy? This thing, I'm telling you, there's so much you could do on this machine that I couldn't, I was still learning. I'm still learning to this day how to use this machine. But the thing I've always struggled with as a producer is my stuff good enough? Is it good? Is it good to put out? Is it good to show people? And that's a thing that I think a lot of producers or maybe artists in general have struggled with. And I just gotta say, you know, do what you feel is right and put it out when you think it's right. Just because someone next to you is not going to like it doesn't mean someone in Argentina is not going to like it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a big world out of your local area. You know, when I put out my first beat tape, it was only 3 beats and it was a test trial. Everything is a test trial for me.
Yeah.
I'm testing things and I'm trying to get it and trying to figure it out and moving on. By the time I dropped that first beat tape, I was already looking online and studying on how should I go approach this? How should I do this? And is it ready? Is it good enough? And when I put it out, when I first saw the after that first month and seeing the numbers of the streams that are coming from Dominican Republic, Argentina, Japan, the UK, was way more streams than anyone in New York or in the United States. You know, just because, you know, the people around you don't like your music doesn't mean that someone in another country could benefit off of it or enjoy it.
Absolutely. Or they could have. Yeah. Thank you. Round of applause. No, you're absolutely right. Because, and what I also love about what you said about, you know, you don't know if this is ready to be released or not. That just goes to show that you care. You give a fuck. You give a fuck about every single song. You're not interested in fillers. You're not worried about a deadline. You're like, if it's not ready, don't put it out. That's the way I look at it, because you want to stay consistent. You want to stay on top of the game and all those good things, but you can't put out mediocrity.
No.
You know, and that's actually something that I had to learn as a podcaster as well. Like, are there some episodes that I've done that I'm not proud of? Yes, there are. But I just kind of, like you said, everything is a test run. And I just kind of, like, you know, forget about it. It's out there in the universe for everybody else to like. I might not be a particular fan of it, but it's out there, and my name is still, you know, out there in circles, and people are still enjoying it. And just because I may not like something that I've done doesn't mean that anybody else doesn't like what I did. You
That's
know?
right.
Because I'll tell you right now, there's an episode that I can't think of right now, but it's probably the worst that I've ever done. But people actually enjoyed it because I was talking about something deep and personal. But I think the reason I didn't like it is because I felt like I was stumbling over my words and I wasn't very presentable, this, that, and the third. But everybody was actually taking heed to what I had to say as opposed to how I looked or how I came across. Oh, yeah. So you never know, you know. And I'm pretty sure that there's maybe a couple of beats of yours that you love, but they're not exactly, you don't love them as much as other ones. But you can find somebody on the street and be like, yo, that's my favorite song of all time.
Dude, it's crazy how just things like that happen, because I've had I've had beats that I put out in certain projects in between a certain beat tape that I didn't think was as good as the other beats in that beat tape.
Yeah.
But that one ends up being the one that a lot of people are starting to listen to.
Yeah, or it gets
It,
the most traction.
it gets the most traction. It's funny you say that.
Yeah. Typical hip hop question. Who are some of your influences as far as beat making?
Beat making influences.
I mean, you got to say RZA if you're wearing the purple tape on your shirt right
Definitely RZA. Oh my God, yeah, definitely RZA, bro. But in this day and age now, modern day era, I would say Hit Boy
now. Mm-hmm.
and The Alchemist and
Yeah.
DJ Muggs.
Love Muggs.
Yeah,
All
DJ
three, all
Muggs.
three that you said were good. I love Hit Boy, I love The Alchemist, and I love DJ Muggs,
Yeah,
and also RZA.
yeah.
Now, if I was a beat maker, I think I would probably hone my craft around like Crisis or Ninth Wonder or DJ Premier, because there's something about the old cuts, grainy, like sample
yes.
heavy beats that just really do it for me.
Oh yeah.
And also Jay Dilla. Like Jay Dilla makes me.
Man.
Jay Dilla makes me feel like the world is such a heavenly place.
You could put on a Jay Diller playlist right there on YouTube. Just let it rock, and your day will just be so much better.
Absolutely. Rest in peace to Jay Dilla,
Yeah,
one of
rest
the
in
greatest
peace,
of all
man.
times. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm looking at your discography here,
Man.
and I'm like, holy shit! Like the amount of stuff that you dropped in this year alone. Like, cause I'm looking at your releases and they say 2004, 2004, 2004, 2004. Like, geez, you're really on your hustle this year.
Yeah,
bro.
everything has been dropped this year. So pretty much the biggest problem that I've had, obviously I just mentioned it, is my stuff good enough?
Mm-hmm.
And I started making beats in 2015, and then I had a shit ton of beats that I never put out because they were in my computer, because I felt that it was just it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And then eventually that computer went to shit and I lost all my music then. So it's almost like a fear of losing my music. I'd rather just give it out and let everybody get a chance to hear it. And I could do that way more nowadays with social media. And now that I learned how to post my own music, and I don't need a record label. I could do it all myself. Shout out to my DIYers, doing everything for themselves where it comes to the artwork, the music, and presenting and marketing themselves. You gotta give it to people that are doing it this year, because this is the year of the dragon. This is the year. This is my year. I was born in 2018, where it was the year of the dragon, and I just realized this
Wait,
year.
you said you were born in 2018?
2088.
I was about to say, like, dude,
I'm
you're
19,
not even.
I'm sorry, I'm fucking high, bro. I was born in 1988, and that
Okay.
year was Year of the Dragon. I'm looking at all types of like spiritual shit and stuff. Because listen, I'm over here trying to create my own themes for my own mixtapes and stuff. And shout out to my next project that's coming out next Friday. It's called Year of the Dragon.
Nice.
So in my realization of this year is the Year of the Dragon as well, I decided to make a beat tape themed that. And the most thing that I struggled the most this year is my creativity when it comes to projects. It's really because I'm constantly making music all the time, and that's becoming very easy to me. The thing I'm struggling with is little theme ideas here and artwork there, and pretty much motivation to keep going forward.
Now, I'm looking at your most recent project right now, The Victory Bowl, which is now available on all streaming platforms. Go check it out. I'm looking at some of these names. You got SS Ann, Regeneration, Spring Fever, The Victory Bowl, All I Need. Now, these are just instrumentals.
Yes.
But where does the inspiration for these names, for these specific titles come from?
Yeah, so sometimes I used to struggle with that as well. I used to name my beats 1, 2, 3, and on. But then I realized they didn't have any flavor or creativity or character. I notice if once I'm done with my beat, and I'm not always done, but once I think I gotta save this, because if I don't save it, I might lose it. I'll be pissed. when I make it's all about feeling, and it's all about feeling. Like SS Ann, I got that name from I don't know if you're a Pokemon fan.
No.
There's a part in Pokemon where you get on the SS Ann boat, and you know, I play Pokemon so much, like all the time, all types of Pokemon games. I'm
Right.
a fucking Nintendo fiend.
But see, that's and not to cut you off, but I understand the method behind that. And what's interesting is that just because I'm not a Pokemon fan doesn't
Hmm.
mean that there's others people
Oh
that
yeah.
are. So if somebody is a Pokemon fan and they're seeing Professor Knox's discography
Hmm.
and they see a song that's named after something that they're familiar with that they
That's right.
could, that's when like, oh, now I'm inclined to hear this, you know?
Yeah, and it's more of trying to express myself as well through the names of the titles too, and what the feeling like regeneration.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you're an X-Men fan, but
Yes.
if you've seen the last show that they put out, which is X-Men
97?
97,
Yeah.
it's amazing. You gotta
Good
check it
stuff,
out.
yeah.
Definitely gotta check it out. I was looking up, Wolverine and stuff, and I'm looking at a YouTube video, and at the same time, I'm making this beat. Um, and the guy's talking about his regeneration, X-Men power that he regenerates from his, that's his power.
Yeah.
So that's where that one came from. You know, not always something as what I feel from the track is more of what I'm feeling in my day and age and what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes that happens. Like one of my favorite groups is Griselda,
Yes.
and on Conway the Machine's one of his albums, there's a song on one of his albums. I think it's called "God Don't Make Mistakes,"
Hmm.
where it's called John Woo Flick.
Oh yeah.
Now, me, I'm a huge movie head. I love John Woo, one of the greatest directors of all time. And when I listen to that song, the song has nothing to do with John Woo at all.
Oh no.
But it, like when I listen to it, it sounds as gritty and as nasty as a John Woo shootout.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I guess that's how they take the inspiration. And it's weird. It's actually weird, but also cool how the marketing, for lack of a better term, has happened when naming certain songs, especially in hip hop, because unfortunately, I'm a New York Jets fan,
Hmm.
and one of our former coaches is Rex Ryan. And I don't know why, but I went on Spotify one day to look, and I typed up Rex Ryan because I wanted to see if there was anything that was audio of him. And then one of the things that popped up was Conway featuring Rock Marciano and West Side Gun, and the name of the song was Rex Ryan. And on the cover, it shows a guy that has scars in the back of his head from being shot. And
Oh.
I'm like, holy shit! Like, what the? How does this have to do with Rex Ryan?
Right.
So I listened to it, and believe it or not, that was my introduction to Griselda. I had never
Really?
heard of Griselda before until I heard that song, and I've been a fan ever since. But it took something of something that was relatable to me, Rex Ryan, former head coach of the New York Jets, for me to actually pay attention to that song, and now I'm a fan of Griselda ever since.
And now you're hooked.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, Jason, it's all art. It's
Hmm.
all art. Just his mind on naming that track got a ton of people looking at his song and listening to it.
Right, and also it was perfect for them at the time because when that song came out, Rex Ryan had become the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, and Griselda is from Buffalo, so obviously they're Buffalo
Oh.
Bills fan. And somewhere in that song, you hear West Side Gun go, "Hoping Rex win us a Super Bowl." So that's that. So that's basically how it all came together.
You know, sometimes is just what's going on right now.
Yeah,
You know, and it's very hard to continue to create while you're in a momentum.
yeah,
When you got a momentum going, if you stop, it's just you lose all your momentum. It's just sometimes you just gotta like little things like naming a track could prevent you from continuing to make greatness.
yeah.
Because you're stopping and trying to think about something that just you don't have to think of.
Right. Now we were just talking earlier about manifestation, how we
Mhm.
believe in that in very, very much.
Yes.
So since we want to talk about manifestation,
Mhm.
who are some dream people that you would love to work with in the industry?
All right. In the industry, first off, I'll say I would definitely love to work with Kendrick Lamar
Nice.
one day. I would definitely love to work with Ab Soul.
I love Absol.
I
Not
love
he's so
Ab-Soul.
underrated. Not a lot of people know about him.
His latest project that he dropped, I think last year.
Mm-hmm.
I had it on repeat the whole year because his words resonated to me.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a song on that album called "It Be Like That,"
It'd be like that.
and
Yeah.
I listened to that like profusely because of what I was going through at that time in that particular time. I felt like that beat alone was the soundtrack to how I was feeling at the time.
The whole album,
It's a vibe.
His whole album is a vibe, and I'm kind of glad that he like finally got his like flowers, because I've always listened to him back in the days when I'm a huge fan of Mac Miller as well.
Yeah, rest in peace to Mac
Rest in
Miller.
peace to Mac Miller. A lot of Mac Miller's beat selection has inspired me to make my own beats as well.
I can see that.
The next beat tape that I got coming out next Friday, The Year of the Dragon.
He stays grinding, bro. Like you just put out the Victory Bowl, and now you got Year of the Dragon coming out.
Well, shout out to the Victory Bowl. I put it out last Friday, but what I'm trying to do. So you say I know I'm all over the place, but I want to get back to like the people I want to work with. But
yeah.
I put out the Victory Bowl last Friday. The Year of the Dragon's coming out this Friday coming out.
Well, this episode will be already out by the time it does, so it's available now on all streaming platforms.
and then when that comes out, I got another beat tape coming out in 2 weeks from then. I'm gonna drop every 2 weeks.
Round of applause for this man's consistency, bro.
For the rest of the year, I'm gonna drop every 2 weeks.
Yeah, you weren't kidding when you said this is the Year of the Dragon. This is the Year of Knox.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's gonna be the end. That's gonna be the title of your 57th album.
We'll see. I don't know. It's the Year of Knox. It might be the beginning of next year. I might drop that.
Okay, all right.
I might do that Year of Knox.
Just remember you heard that here on First Class Second Place.
But yeah, I said Kendrick Lamar. I said Ab Soul. I would love to work with Mayhem Loren.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
I would like to work with Flea Lord.
Flea Lord is good.
I would like to work with Benny the Butcher.
All right. How about Rock
Marciano, and West Side Gun.
There you go.
And then eventually, I know I'm going off, but Tyler the Creator.
There you go. And also, shout out to a former guest of First Class Second Place, Action Figure 973. I think that there should be something in the works between you and him. Just putting it out there.
You know what? You know what's funny about Action Figure 973? Shout out to him, because he's been working his ass off this year too.
Yes.
And in the beginning of the year, like in January, I came across one of his videos on Instagram, and it was some fire, man. It's the shit that I'm trying to make, is the boom bap. I'm trying to bring hip hop back, and he's doing it. So shout out to him. I saw him in one of his videos, and then I came to the studio to chill with Marv, and he was like, "Oh, you like Action Figure?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "He was in my studio." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." I didn't know he was from,
he's from Jersey,
the area, So, shout out to him doing his thing. He's very consistent this year and very successful. So I appreciate him and his work.
Well, we appreciate you and your work, man, and keep doing it. Keep doing with your consistency. There's more projects coming out, and I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and so we're about to close out this episode in a little bit. Before we go, I have a little segment that I created for at the end of each episode. So this is called This or That, which is inspired from Black Sheep.
You could get with this, or you could get with that.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of tailor around my guests. So. Let's go kind of rapid fire here, and then afterwards we could just put this episode in the books.
Thank you, bro.
All right, so you ready, Marv? You ready, Knox?
I am ready.
Let's do this. All right. For this or that, you, Mr. Knox. Playlist or podcast?
Playlist.
All right. Taylor ham or pork roll?
Taylor ham.
Thank you. Last two guests have said pork roll. I'm like, why?
No.
Slides or Crocs?
I think Crocs are disgusting. And I don't like I'll say slides.
Okay, yeah. If you had to do one or the other.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
Oh, man. Definitely dogs, but I definitely love my cats.
Shout out to Rocco, by the way. Beach or pool?
Pool.
All right, yeah. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Mac or PC?
When it comes to computers, PC.
Deadpool or Wolverine?
Oh, Wolverine.
All right. McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Taco Bell's got it going on with the menu right now. That's a fact.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
All right. Professor X or Magneto?
Professor X.
Charizard or Pikachu?
Mm. Pikachu.
All right. Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
I'd rather be embarrassed. I'm never afraid.
Oh. Are you a glass half empty or glass half full guy?
Glass half full.
Would you rather be too hot or be too cold?
I'd rather be too hot.
Okay. On an airplane, window seat or aisle seat?
Definitely the window seat.
I'm actually the aisle guy because
Oh.
I have to go to the bathroom every now and then. So yeah. Mofongo or mangu?
Mungo.
Okay. Book smart or street smart?
Definitely street smart.
DJ Premier or The Alchemist?
Oh man. Oh man. I would usually say DJ Premier because of the legendary history this man is and everything he's done for hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the type of guy that's always trying to. I like the hustle that Alchemist has done, and he's changed his career, and for the better. And he hustled his way. So I'm gonna say Alchemist.
All right. Dipset or D Block?
Oh. If it wasn't for Dipset, I say Dipset because they were a whole culture.
Okay. All right. I like that. Ice water or room temperature?
Ice water.
Nikes or Adidas?
Definitely Nikes.
Stone Cold Steve Austin or Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
What?
Stone Cold Steve Austin or Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
That was a Stone Cold joke.
Oh.
Definitely Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. And finally, teamwork or solo project?
I've been doing solo projects all year, and I've been hungry to work with someone very special, and only that one person. So I'm gonna say teamwork because it makes the dream work.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this and that. And this is also going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you so much to my guest, Professor Knox, for coming through here.
Thank you for having me so much.
Anytime, brother. You're always welcome back.
Shout out to Bravery Studios and Marv on the mic, on the ones and twos over there.
And so you have more projects coming out. Mm-hmm. All right, next it's dropping every 2 weeks.
Yep.
So by this time this episode drops, the Year of the Dragon will be already out.
All right, so I got the Year of the Dragon, and is dropping June 14th, and then I got the Drive-Thru dropping the 28th.
There you go.
Of this month, June.
I'm looking forward to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely go check out his music on all streaming platforms, specifically Spotify. That's where I've been getting my stuff. Continue to support this man. Continue to support good music, and continue to support good producers. So,
thank you,
brother. Thank you so much for coming through. And, ladies and gentlemen, you can where can they find you on social media?
So on Instagram, I am Powerhouse Knox because someone got Professor Knox. Everything else, I'm Professor Knox.
There you go. All right, looking forward to it, brother. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at First Class, Second Place. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.
Woo!